You're most welcome to this class. This is financial accounting, and I'm yours, Coach Samuel Evander, who is here to give you insights around financial accounting and help you prepare for the exam. So today we want to look at this exam. This exam was set in May 2024. It's a CP exam for financial accounting, paper one. Those that are pursuing financial accounting at different other levels, this session will still be relevant to you because the financial accounting principles are nearly the same. So we just want to examine this paper and see how the examiner structured the questions and what strategy you can be able to use when it comes to acing this paper, just in case you have a similar, let's say, exam that you're actually going to do. So we can see usually for this paper, section A has objectives, and then section B has structured questions. So for section A, we shall not see it here, but you can be able to access some trial questions around our objectives. And what I usually encourage students is ensure that you have read extensively when it comes to your study of financial accounting to easily be able to respond to those objectives. It's all about your understanding of financial accounting, and the examiner is basically trying to test you on that. So we have this question, which is around partnerships. So it says Abel, Benjamin, and Caleb are in partnership trading as exceptional traders, and they're sharing profits of 2 to 1 respectively. The partnership was dissolved on 1st January 2024, and the statement of financial position as at 31st December 2023 is as shown below. So we can be able to see that we have this question as a question on partnership. So if this is a question on partnership, means that we have to get ourselves ready in terms of understanding partnerships. So usually what I say is that if you have read, let's say, for example, the introductory statement, your paragraph, it should be able to give you an insight onto the question. But also, when you get down to the required, you get to realize what exactly the examiner is looking out for. So we can see here they're saying, prepare the ledger accounts on dissolution, and they want us to prepare a realization account, capital account, cash and bank account. And we can see the distribution of marks across all that is required. So it's important for us to know that every time we have, for example, winding up of partnerships, one of the accounts that we do prepare in this process is the realization account. So realization is more around to see how do we liquidate our assets at that point in time of winding up, and we do that through the realization account. It's more of like the disposal account for assets, liabilities, and any other item that relates to the partnership when it's closing up. I have done a video on realization accounts, and that you can be able to find it on the YouTube channel. But in case you struggle, I can be able to share that directly with you. But there is a realization account video that you can be able to leverage on when it comes. So let's just first run through the questions, and then we shall be able to see how we can attempt each of them. And that is something that is also you need to do when you approaching any exam. The first thing to do is for you to be able to first run through each of the different questions, for you to also easily be able to make the right choices when it comes to which questions you're going to attempt. Sometimes when you get to a number and you get excited and do it, you get yourself to a point in time where either you've struggled through the number and maybe there's a cheaper number that you could have done. So just like that, I just want us to also get down to some of the other numbers to see what the examiner said that time. So of course, the first number, by the look of things, this is an easy number that you should be able to get nearly all the marks, because as long as you've practiced numbers on realization accounts, this should be very easy. There's nothing complicated around this question. You just need to be able to know, how do I do a realization account? How do I transfer all the balances off from the asset accounts to the realization accounts? And how do I also balance through all whatever I'm doing through the capital account? And finally, your cash and bank account. So we'll come back there, but I just want us to run down to this question, which is question 3, which says the following information relates to XY construction firm for the year ended 31st December 2020. So as we can see, when you look at the question, we have different assets. We have the cost, and then we have accumulated depreciation accordingly. So these are fixed assets or long-term assets or non-current assets. So in my mind, I already know that the examiner wants me to draw disposal accounts, accumulated depreciation accounts, and so on. And definitely that is the same thing that is happening here. We have a disposal account, accumulated depreciation account. Then they also want us to do the vehicles account. So as we can see, the first part of the question says, explain any two causes of depreciation of plant, property, and equipment. And like the question is on depreciation, we also see that we have different vehicles, but as the examiner down here is telling us to prepare the vehicle account. So it means that for all the assets, we'll have a single account. So this is important for you, such that because you've seen different assets here, excavator, graders, compactors, trucks, you do not have to go and prepare a single asset, each of the assets. So it's important. So what you do here is, of course, usually you start with your asset account, and you know that assets have a normal debit balance. So all that is bought is debited, while any disposals are credited. And we know that whenever we are selling off an asset, we sell it the first step we do is to write it off from the asset account and transfer it to the disposal account. So this is what the examiner required you. So this is also averaged an okay number. Of course, it may take you some time to get it through, but also one of the things you need to understand is the different methods of depreciation. So for this paper specifically, especially for the CPS students, we usually limited to the two methods of depreciation, that is the reducing balance and the straight line method. As long as you know those, then that should be okay. As we can see here, they're telling us that the trucks and other non-current assets are all depreciated on cost. So what that means is that ideally, if they say an asset is depreciated on cost, then that asset is actually depreciated at straight line method. So that is also important, because the examiner may not say straight line directly, but once they say on cost, means that it's basically on cost. We know very well that when it comes to reducing balance method, what we usually say is the reducing balance is on the net book value of the asset. So in this case, they're telling us at cost, which means that, yeah, they are straight line. And again, that even makes your work much easier, because if it's on cost, means that the depreciation will be the same across all throughout the year, okay? All throughout the years of its useful life. So every year, it's the same value, it's the same value, it's the same value. So that's important. So they're asking two causes of depreciation of plant, property, and equipment. Then also asked us to make that preparation. So of course, when it comes to such papers, it's also very important for you to know that although you're preparing for calculations, you also need to be able to prepare for some theory. Now, like in this case where the examiner is asking us something to do with depreciation. So if you had, let's say, gone through and read very well when it comes to aspects of of depreciation. You'll be able to know things like causes like passage of time, because when time passes, an asset definitely depreciates. And then assets may also be depreciated due to change in technology, which is most referred to as obsolescence. You could also just have wear and tear, where uh, the asset has worn out. So those could be some of the causes that you could be looking at. But at the end of the day, that is something that you can be able to leverage on, especially when you read the notes. I encourage you to make sure that you're reading those theoretical notes. And if you're part of my class, you'll be able to get some of those notes. I do provide them. So make sure you read extensively to be able to understand some of these things, because these 2 marks could be a game changer for you. There are students who go for the exam and they're getting 48, they're getting 47, or even 45. And if at all they had leverage on these small marks as they are, these students shouldn't have struggles when it comes to passing this paper. So again, practice, practice, practice. There are quite a number of questions on depreciation that you can be able to find, but I've also done quite a number of them on the YouTube channel that you can be able to access as well, and then it can be helpful to you. Yes. The next question was started by saying, explain why manufacturing statement is prepared and discuss how the information in this statement is helpful in determining the profit or loss for the period. And again, they gave you a trial balance here. Now that one, I know it should be a number on manufacturing accounts. So definitely here they're asking you to prepare a manufacturing statement and the statement of profit and loss. So again, it all starts with some theory, which is on basically 3 marks, asking you to explain why a manufacturing statement is prepared. So if you know very well, or if you've done a preparation of, let's say, manufacturing statement, then you should be able to know that a manufacturing statement is mostly helpful in helping you determine the cost of production. And by cost of production, we looking at what you may call your prime costs, or direct costs, and then the indirect costs, or the indirect manufacturing costs. So when we prepare a manufacturing statement, we know that we can be able to add up all our manufacturing costs and be able to find what you might call your so-called cost of goods sold or cost of sales. Okay. And after if we're told we have a cost of sales, and maybe also have now the sales figure, means that we can determine the gross profit. And once we have the gross profit, we can also determine the net profit. So that is what a manufacturing statement could really help you at the end of the day in determining the profit or loss for the period. So this question is also quite easily approachable, because if you've done also a question on manufacturing, maybe about 3 questions, whatever, this should be okay for you to be able to prepare. Because like we said, we start with our manufacturing statement, which goes on to now look at what I called your cost of production. So you start with your raw materials, you get down to aspects of labor, any other direct costs like factory wages or royalties, and so on. And then you get down to now your indirect, the indirect costs that you also need to bring in there. So again, we could do this, just first move and see. These are, of course, I just want to also highlight these, as you can see, some of these question marks. The examiner sometimes wants to do this, but all you need to just be sure to do is to understand that if it's electricity expense, usually when it comes to how manufacturing questions are, usually they try to break down the expenses across the different units. So as you can see, we have something on factory, then we have something on warehouse, Warehousing is more like the selling and distributional costs, because once items leave the factory, they get the warehouse. And then we have office, which sometimes we call them the administration costs. So if they have given 1/5 for factory, they have also given 2 out of 4 for warehouse. Yours is basically to just calculate, add the 1/5 plus 2 out of 4 and less it from 1, because at the end of the day, the electricity expense should be able to all add to in terms of ratios, it should add to 1 or fractions. So just getting 1 minus 1.5, 1/5 minus the 2/4. So if you you should be able to remember some of your mathematics from O level, from wherever you studied it from. So that's important. The same thing as we can see for rent as well. They have given us 4 out of 8. They have also given us 2/5. So it means that we need to be able to determine that by just subtracting 4/8 plus 2/5 from 1. Of course, since you're an accounting student, much likely you have a calculator. So a calculator means that you can just divide these things using a calculator, or use a calculator to help you find this, instead of going into calculating fractions, which may take you some time. So you can just get your calculator, get 4/8, and see what that gives you. Maybe that is actually a half, that is 0.5. And then you know that 2 out of 5 is about should be about 0.4. So 0.4 and 0.5, that is 0.9. So it means that this is 0.1. So as basic as that. So it's not that you should calculate also it to be in a ratio. And remember, the examiner is basically requiring you to do a manufacturing statement. So don't take a lot of time onto this. So as we can see, even the depreciation, they have also given us at cost, which is really good for us, okay? The rest of the other things are also not really hard as you proceed to look at them. And then I just want us to get to question 5 and see what the examiner here basically wanted us to do. So he says that Jackie mobilized capital from her savings and started a restaurant business, Kawomera Restaurant, on 1st January 2024. The following are the transactions during the month of January 2024. So we can see quite a number of transactions here. But again, my curiosity is on the aspect of what does the examiner require me to do? So as we get down here, you get to realize that the examiner is telling us to prepare for Kawomera Restaurant for the month of January 2024, a 3-column cash book. A 3-column cash book. We know very well from our study that a 3-column cash book means it has the column of cash, it has the column of bank, and it also has the column of discounts. So the debit side definitely has a discount, and even the credit side has a discount. We know that the discount that is on the debit side relates to the discounts that are around sales, because sales receipts are recorded on the debit side. So even the discounts are recorded in the same way. So the discount that you receive when you basically the discount that is in existence when you sell is the discount allowed. So when you're selling, you're allowing discounts. So the discount allowed is on the debit side, while the other discount, which is the discount that you have received, is on the credit side, and usually goes with your payments or your purchases. So that's quite important. So that is what the examiner required. 14 marks are also very easy to really get down, because usually if you know how to calculate your discounts very well, this shouldn't really be hard. So these were 14 marks. Let me see where the remaining marks are. So there's a part B on this question. Let's see what the examiner wanted us to do. So part B, the examiner gives us a bank statement. Wow. And then they are telling us, use the information from the bank statement to update the bank column of the cash book and prepare the bank reconciliation statement. So it so means that the question up that is on the cash book continues down to the bank reconciliation. So after you prepared your cash book up, you're now supposed to reconcile it with your bank statement here. So I know that for most students, they're used to questions where they give you a cash book already prepared, balances, and then you go on to prepare an adjusted cash book and so on. But here the examiner has started with you preparing the cash book. So it means that you will not even have those aspects of adjusted cash book. You'll be able to prepare your cash book, and from there you reconcile, which is usually the normal practice. Once we have our cash book, then we look at our bank statement, and then we are able to reconcile through in regards to who paid, what our items are either in our cash book and not on the bank statement, and what items could be on our bank statement and not in the cash book. As simple as that can be. So, and that's why you see even here the examiner went directly and said, prepare bank reconciliation statement. So you not have an adjusted cash book because your cash book, the one you're preparing, is already that cash book that you're going to use to reconcile. Okay. Then let's look at question 6 here. So he's saying, explain why small businesses use single entry to record transactions and discuss the resulting challenges. So here they gave this 5 marks. Now, we know very well that when it comes to small businesses, in most cases, they don't have accountants. So because of low literacy levels of the accounting principles, these businesses cannot understand what do you debit, what do you credit. So they end up preparing their books of accounts on single entry. And then, of course, let's also say that single entry is also easy to record, because if you've bought your, let's say you've purchased stock, you just get your book and record the stock that is brought. So you're not going into, again, let me record stock, let me go to record it in the cash book and so on. So it's easy for them, it's easy to do. If I sell items, I'll just have a sales book. I'll not have again a sales book and then record again in the cash book. So for most of the business people, this is the direction they do take. And of course, just like the question is asking, what are some of the resulting challenges that come with this? Of course, the resulting challenges that come with this is that as a business, you're not able to prepare your financial statements. So for example, income statement, you cannot be able to determine your profit or loss for the period. It's also, they also get challenges with also drawing up their statement of financial position. So they cannot know some of their critical balances, like how much lies within accounts payable, how much lies within accounts receivable, what is the value of my assets. All that will not come into, you'll not be able to have that because you are basically doing what? You're basically preparing on single entry. And then we have, of course, if you, for example, you want to compute your tax, in this case, where maybe URA wants you to pay tax, and in Uganda, tax is paid, presumptive tax is paid based on sales revenue, and then we have also corporation tax, which is paid based on profit. So if you've not been preparing your books of accounts, much likely you cannot prepare your so-called statement of financial position and statement of comprehensive income. And so you can't determine what your tax is. So that is important for us. The other thing that also, you can see that this question went on to say Peter owns a small factory. So of course, this tells me that this question might be likely to be around also single entry. So when you can see Peter owns a small factory, Sparkle Enterprise making soap and other detergents on 1st January 2023, the account balances were as follows. So we have land, building, plant and machinery, and then they go down. Let's see what the question is requiring us to do. Yes, the question is asking us to prepare opening capital. We usually do this when we look at the opening assets and opening liabilities and get the difference. Sometimes we use what is called the statement of affairs account to be able to determine our opening capital. And then you can see that the question also asks us to do total sales, total purchases, salary expense, and then rent expense. And they're giving those 4 marks, 4 marks, 3 to 2, and your 20 marks are there. So of course, I know that some students find this question sometimes a challenge, especially on single entry, because you're basically doing a lot of figuring out here and there. So if you're in the exam, I would encourage you to assess your understanding of such questions. And of course, like any other question, such questions, you build your capacity around them when you start to practice as many questions as possible that could be related to let's say this topic. So as when you do those questions, they help build your capacity, and when you get to a question, you're not seeing it for the very first time. Okay. So yeah, that is quite something that you need to take in interest in, to make sure that whatever you're preparing for, you have practiced. Okay. Yeah, so that's how this paper was. And before I get into the part 2 of this session, again, I want to say thank you so much for following through the class. And I know that some of you, especially those that are accessing the recording, you're either part of the class or you may not be part of the class. So in case you're not part of the class, I encourage you to be able to join in, so that we can be able to you can be able to tap into part 2 of this session, to be able to help you understand these concepts as I try to go through each of the questions. So feel free to just reach out. I can be able to add you to the WhatsApp group, where you can be able to access whatever link that you need to access for you to be able to join the class. So I just want to, of course, some of you may not know, let me just try to write here my number. Let me just write it in a place where you're not confused. Okay. I'm just writing my number here. Okay. So my number is 2 + 56 + 256 07 380 3255. So that's my number, where you can be able to reach out, so that I can be able to give you more details on how to join the class, and then we can be able to go together. Or you can actually, in case you're not able to send WhatsApp, maybe for certain reasons, you can just send an email to samuelivanda@gmail.com. Okay. So you can just be able to send me an email on that and say, I watched your video and I want to be part of your class. Okay. So I just want to appreciate you for joining through. And then I want to encourage you that it's easy to pass this paper. Just need to put their time, practice, but also learn the concepts. Do not cram, because cramming is not good. And for you, I've taught this paper for quite a while, as you can also see for some of the videos that I upload on my YouTube channel there. But of course, the dynamics also keep changing. So I encourage you to be able to join in class so that we can be able to learn together. Okay. So that is what I wanted to share with you. Okay. All right.